Okay, so I thought this would be interesting, or maybe not. So I was just gonna go through the final steps in how a book is born. So this is, I already published the larger paperback yesterday evening, and now I have the smaller paperback on my screen, and I'm going to be doing the same thing. So there's a few last checks that I do, just to make sure everything is perfect. One of the things that I do is going through and turning the edit line numbers back on. You can see here, just to kind of make sure everything lines up where I want it to. This is section 1 of the book. It already looks fine, so we're going to turn those numbers back off, and now now we're going to go back. We're going to go into section 2, where the main book actually starts. Actually, you know what? I did not check the forward. The forward is part of section 1. So again, so with the small paperback, all of the chapter numbers start on line 12, and the page starts on line 16. So that's one of the things I'm going to be looking for. The other thing I'm going to be looking for is to make sure that every page after that actually begins up at the top on page 1, or on line 1. These are things that are very easily overlooked, and just because I'm filming, the dogs are down there on the floor like making noise. You know, at a glance, you might not notice that one page is one line off. So this is just a last minute thing I do. The section 1 looks fine, so we're going to go ahead. We're going to get rid of the numbers. This is another thing that I've done, another mistake I've made in the past, is I have forgotten to turn the line numbers off in certain sections of the book. I turn it into a PDF file, and then when I look at the PDF file, then I notice all of that stuff. So I try and take my time and pay attention to all these little things. You just have to. So we're going to turn the line numbers on. The line numbers start back at line 1 on every single page. So again, we're here on chapter 1, and when I do this, I actually speak out loud to myself. I guess you could say it's an audible spot check. So I will scroll through the entire book, and I will actually speak out loud. Chapter 1, chapter 2, line 16. This is just my way of, of hearing that it's correct. It sounds crazy, but it works. So, chapter 1 begins on line 12, as it should. The first paragraph of page 1 is on line 16. So that's exactly the way it should be. All the other pages up at the top, everything's aligned starting on line 1. We scroll down. Now, as I've been editing the book too, I've also made sure that other little things like the headers are correct. The page numbers are there. These are other little things that have actually been overlooked before. Like one little thing, I'll make one little click with the mouse by accident and turn off the page numbers or something like that. So I try, this is where I really drill down to all the details. So again, all the way up at line 1, there are soft and hard page breaks or paragraph breaks throughout the novels. A soft break like this is just a 2-line space that it kind of designates a change, almost like scenes of a movie. It's kind of a change in the rhythm of the story. Maybe this paragraph begins a few hours later than the paragraph before it, or perhaps it's other characters within the same time frame, but maybe it contains dialogue and whatnot of additional characters, something like that. So I'll put these little soft breaks in so the reader understands that they're reaching a point where the story kind of maybe takes just a little bit of a turn. And I also do hard breaks, which we will find at some point. The hard breaks are represented by 3 asterisks in the middle of a page. And a hard break I use as a way to actually change the story itself. So maybe the story, for whatever reason, maybe the story jumps ahead 2 or 3 weeks, or maybe it's a totally different, idea of the story. Or a venue, we've gone from being at the office to being at a restaurant or something like that. So I'll kind of, depending on the rhythm of the story, I'll decide whether it warrants just a soft break or a hard break. So right now we're just checking at this point, everything is flush across the top the way it should be, flush across the top, keep going. As I said, I've already gone through this a million times. The bottom of the pages will always be a little bit off here and there. It just depends on where, if for instance, dialogue, if I'm doing dialogue, it knows to keep a quoted portion of the text in one little clump. So sometimes the bottom of a page will end on, line 23 or 24, because it bounces the new dialogue for the next character onto a new page. Here you see over here, here's a hard break. So this was a change in the story to a different venue and or a different character. So now we go down, now we're on chapter 2. Again, the chapter starts on line 12, the paragraph starts on line 16. Everything else flush across the top, we're good. We have a soft page break, that's supposed to be there. Line 1 all the way across the top. And I scroll through the entire document like this. Here's a rarity where all of the bottom pages here, these 4 pages, just happen to all fall on line 27. That's actually rare. Usually they bounce around a line or two, like this next row here. And again, that's completely normal. That's just that's just Word formatting it on its own as you type. So completely normal. We're gonna keep going. Flush at the top, flush at the top. Looks good, looks good. As many times as I've already reviewed this, it should be perfect by now. Okay, chapter 3, line 12, line 16, we're good. Everything else flush at the top. Soft page break. Here's a hard page break. Sometimes I will put a hard page break in, and the way the story formats, I don't like this, but it's unavoidable. I would prefer if a few lines up here on page 70 were actually down here, but Word won't allow it. There, I have a certain number of spaces in between, and it just won't allow it. So again, it's fine. It doesn't bother me too much. These are little things that I had to kind of get used to with my own OCD as I wrote these books, and just understand that this is the way it is, and it's fine. It's still very neat, and it still looks great. So flush at the top, we're good. We're going to keep moving along. This book clocked in at 508 pages. That's numbered pages. The total document for this small paperback, it's down here in the corner. It's 527 pages total. So here we're on chapter 4, line 12, paragraph, line 16. We're good. We're going to keep moving. I'm going to keep moving. Again, here's a little situation where this page ended on line 25 because new dialogue for a new character started, and 3 lines would not fit on this page, so it automatically bounced it onto another page. Again, completely normal. And keep going. Everything looks good. I have my soothing piano music playing in the background. Okay, we're at the end of another chapter, beginning of chapter 5, line 12, line 16. And we're going to keep going. Here's another hard page break. This one actually, now these are the ones I like. This one actually started it just by happenstance. The hard page break started at the top of a page, so it's nice and clean. And it just designates, again, it just designates a different time a different time in the story. It may be the same day, but we've skipped forward several hours or something. So same story, same storyline, so to speak. We've just skipped ahead. Keep going. Okay, chapter 6, line 12, line 16. We're good. Flush across the top. Hard page break. We also have these little funky things where, there's literally just a few lines on one page at the end of a chapter. It is what it is. Can't do much about it, so we just leave it. The only thing I could do if I really wanted to is I could go through pages of text and condense the text enough to bring these 3 lines onto another page. But you know what? It's too much work to do that. And it's just, it needs to be organic. Okay, so we were on chapter 7, line 12, line 16. I'm going to keep scrolling. Everything's fine. Chapter 8, line 12, line 16. We're good. Flush across the top here. Flush across the top. Okay, here we go. So here we're on chapter 9, line 12, line 16, flush across the top, everything's fine. Other things I'll do to designate certain things, for instance, you'll see right here on these 3 pages, there's a lot of italicized a lot of italicized dialogue. This is to designate text messages between characters texting on their phone. So in order to kind of let that stand out from the rest of the paragraphs, the rest of the in-person dialogue, I make things like that. I make them italicized, so you're reading, you're reading like a text message on a telephone versus someone speaking in person out loud. I don't know if other authors do stuff like this. I do it because I don't know. I've just gotten, that's just the way I do it. Again, here's another weird thing. This page ends a little short up on the page because this paragraph, again, Word just wanted to move this entire paragraph over to the next page, so the entire paragraph was on one page. I could even try and manually move it back. Word doesn't like it, and it will put it where it wants. So there's certain battles you just can't fight. Keep going. There's 28 chapters plus an epilogue in this book. So we're on chapter 10, line 12, line 16, flush across the top here. We're going to keep going. Hard page break. Here's a soft page break, everything up at the top, line 12 or line 1. Keep going. Hard page break. Chapter 11, line 12, paragraph, line 16. All of our headers and footers still look good. Chapter 12, line 16. Hard page break. Or actually, it's a story break, not necessarily a page break. There's another one. Chapter 13, line 12. Line 16. (14, 12, 16). 15, line 16, line 12 up there, flush across the top. 16, line 12, line 16. The other reason I do this one last check is because I'm constantly editing the book up until the final, the final change over into a PDF. And even just removing one word or, any small change could bounce a line up on the page or, remove a line altogether, anything like that. That could throw these first pages of chapters off. It's done, it happens. So I check. Now there is a way apparently to make these lines static so that that can never happen. I'm not savvy enough with, these programs to know how to do all that. And to be honest, I just, you can only control so much. Chapter 18, line 12, 16. We're going to keep going. Flush across the top. Chapter 19, line 12, line 16. Chapter 20, line 12, line 16. Flush. 21, line 12, line 16 for the paragraph start. So we're almost at the end of the book. 22, line 12, line 16, we're good. Hard page break. Another hard page break up here at the top. 23, line 12, line 16, as it should be. Flush across the top at line 1, all the way across the top. We're good. Everything looks very good. 24, line 12, line 16. Another hard page break up at a line 1. Those are the kind of things I try and pay close attention to make sure that it is on line 1. Chapter 25, line 12, line 16. We're good. Keep going. This book especially, I've had to be very careful about all of this because the book has literally been evolving over 20 years. I've been doing a lot more cutting and pasting of, snippets and excerpts that I've been, compiling over the years. A lot of cutting and pasting into the manuscript. So, this book has definitely been Frankenstein together over the years. So I pay very close attention to some of these little details at the end to make sure that I didn't overlook anything. We've got chapter 26, 27, some chapters are longer, some are shorter. A lot of it really just depends on where I can break the story in a good place to continue to a next chapter. So again, I don't really try and keep chapters at certain pages or at a certain number of pages. It is just, the book just is what it is. Wherever the story feels right to end the chapter. So if that chapter happens to be 20 pages as opposed to a 10-page chapter, that's just the way it is. I don't want to break a story. I don't want to break a chapter in the middle of a thought. Okay, last chapter, line 28, chapter 28, line 12, line 16. And then we come to the end of the book here. Ends exactly on page 500. Then we start the epilogue, line 12, line 16. There should be 8 pages of the epilogue to be continued. Page 508. And then again, I've already checked all this stuff, but I will go ahead, turn line numbers on just to make sure. Line 1 all across the top, line 1. Okay, so we can go ahead and get rid of the line numbers. Okay, now we're up at the top of the book. Now, the last thing I checked, just to make sure I'm correct, is the ISBN number. I checked to make sure that is absolutely the right one. Okay, so we've got 626-251. Let's see, where are my ISBNs? Here, right in front of me. Yeah, 626-251. So that is the correct ISBN. So now we're ready. I'm going to save it. And then I'm going to do a file, save as Adobe PDF. I'm going to leave, let's see, what date did I put on? Yeah, I'm going to leave the January 30th date because technically that is the date that I did finish this. So we're going to save it. And then over on my other screen, it's going to open up the PDF. I'm going to, as soon as this is done, let's see. And this is the pocketbook size cover. And again, I'm just going to check down here, ISBN 626251. The barcode matches the number, so all of that is correct. And it is still thinking. It's turning it into a PDF. Sorry for the length of the video. This really is in real time how long it takes to do this. So it doesn't take an incredibly long amount of time, but you can't rush this kind of thing. So this is the most important step, you know, the last steps is making sure the documents are correct. Now, another reason I'm going to minimize this. And now I'm going to drag the PDF over. Now, another reason, there's a certain order in which you have to do things. Page display, I want 2-page view. And we're gonna make this, we're gonna actually make this smaller so I can see the full page. In order for the publisher to get the right size book cover template, it needs to know how many pages the final document is. The outside dimensions of the book are always the same, but it's the spine area, the thickness of the spine, and that's determined by how many pages the book has. So I can't get a cover template until I finish the interior and upload the interior. So what I need to do now is I need to organize. I'm going to go to Organize Pages. And this has all the pages of the book. Now, if I did this right, let me just go down to the bottom. So the page with my photo and bio should be the very last page of the book, always. This is the page next to it. Then the 2 pages in front of that, this is the future projects. This page here and this page here is the about the author. Then you have the very last page of the book to be continued, and you have the what comes next page, like the teaser for a sequel, because there is going to be a sequel to this book. Now, what I need to do is I actually need to crop these pages. The documents are still technically on like an 8.5 by 11 sheet. So the way you crop it, right click, crop pages. And this is really strange too. Sometimes this works perfectly, sometimes it doesn't. It's very strange. So it's cropped page 4.5 times 7.130. This is dictated by Word. When I type the document, if you noticed, all those pages, they looked like the page size of a book, which is the way it should look. So what I'm telling the PDF file now is to get rid of all the fluff around it and make sure the pages really are cropped at the size they should be. So we're going to do that. We're going to crop it. Now, if everything works, now we're going to go in and we are going to print, which we're not actually going to print. We're going to turn it into a PDF file. Properties. Now, if you notice, right now it looks like it's still on an 8.5 by 11, but the document is the 4.5 by 7.5 basically, or 7.25. So what I need to do is go into Properties. Now, I've already set my computer up for this, so I just scroll up, Pocketbook Size. Now we're gonna see if this works. Sometimes wait a minute, what did I do? Let's try this again. We're just gonna do this. That's what it was saying it was. So I'm gonna go back to Layout. Okay. Now we're going to print, and we're going to save it. Same file name, it's just going to be a PDF now. Now, sometimes, what is this? 130? Oh yes, I do want to replace it. Or, wait a minute. Wait, forgot. I have to save it as final, published size. Oh no, I save it as final upload. See, oh my goodness, final upload. Okay, so now it's thinking. Now, if it does it right, everything will be centered perfectly on the page. Adobe is strange, and sometimes it will not work right the first time. This happened last night with the 6x9 paperback. See, like this. I don't know why it does this. It's really strange. It did this with the other one last night. So I have to organize pages. I'm going to go through. I'm going to do it one more time. It always does this, and I still have yet to understand why. Cropped page, print, so we're going to try it again. Yes, I want to replace it because the first one was funky. Hopefully the second time will work. This is very common. It's frustrating. Still have no idea why. Sometimes I have to do this 2 or 3 times before it does it right. But see, now it's correct. Now this is the way it should be. It should be centered. Everything should be beautiful. So now what we're going to do is we are going to close this. Yeah, close all tabs. So now we are going to go into the publisher's website. We're going to go into my projects. So here are the 3 caches. This one here is the 6x9 that I just published. So we are live. It is on the publisher's website. I still have to order a proof, which is, it's telling me right now I need to order a proof before it can be distributed globally. Now the 626251, this is the pocketbook. So we're going to click on this one. I've already done most of everything. Copyright info is right. Promotional information. I've already filled in all the blanks. So I'm going to click on continue editing. So print book, and again, I've already clicked on most of this. Published book, yes, yes, yes. I've got the name, English, fiction, add copyright. Copyright stuff is already there. Got my name. There's the ISBN. Already have that. Design your book. Okay, so now I have to upload the interior file, which is what we just created, which is this one here. 527 pages. Now it's going to think, it's thinking. And again, if everything goes right, it'll give me a green box to let me know it's good. And yes, this does take some time. I'm going to do a separate video because this one's like 30 minutes by now. I'm going to do a separate video on how I do the cover. That one, hopefully that video won't take as long. Okay, so your book was successfully uploaded. Please continue designing your book below. So now, let's see. So we're going to pick standard black and white. The paper type is number 60, white uncoated. The binding type is a paperback perfect bound. All my paperbacks I do as a glossy finish. The hardcovers I do a matte finish on the dust jacket because I just like the way that looks. I've never really seen a hardcover. Well, I have seen hardcover books with glossy dust jackets. I prefer the matte. I think it's a little classier for a hardbound book. The paperbacks, though, I've always seen in glossy. So now, after all this is chosen, now here we go, print cost. So it's going to cost me, this is how much it costs me to buy it. It cost me $13.93 just to buy the copy of the book. The price is based on how many pages a book is. So that's one of the reasons why I publish the larger paperback first. Even though the book size is larger, the pages are less. So the paperback for the 6x9 is going to cost me less than $9 to purchase a copy. So that's why I do it this way now. I purchase just one copy, the larger one first. I'll do a full read cover to cover, catch any other errors that I find, and that way I can actually make changes to the other 2 copies before they are published and before I've spent money on a proof. So then the last thing to do here is to upload the cover, which we will do in the next video. And then once the cover is uploaded, down here, book preview, it'll actually give us a preview of what the book looks like. And I can literally flip the pages on the screen to make sure everything is aligned. So that will be in the next video.